Hey, what's up, everyone? DayTraderRockStar here for again, a watch list updated 10 for 1,000 watch list for this week, but also going to start off here talking about overall market conditions and the importance of this upcoming week. Now, it seems like I've been saying that a lot lately. For the last two watch lists, each watch list comes out on Sunday. I was looking for bullish activity in the markets, and it's played out almost to a textbook pattern here. We got a crossover on the stochastics, which is a main indicator that I'm working off of, held off of a double bottom here, and really a good signal. And that, call it what you will. I called it the Jackson Hole rally. We figured there was some stuff, we had the Jackson Hole in front of us, and we knew that markets tend to, kind of rally into rumors, sell on the news type of event. And again, we had the Obama speech that overhangs us for next week, and we also have a vote in Germany, which is a big deal. But you could see, using the 1, 2, 3 pattern, the three different pivots. We talk about three pivots. We also know that that two points make a straight line. So just to go over this concept, we look for two pivots, and a third pivot being the opposite pivot. It doesn't matter which way it goes, as long as the pivot really represents a move from one side to the other side, a directional move. So you have a pivot here, pivot here, pivot here. Three pivots, you got one straight line, and you just make a parallel line. And then as you see, you go take the directional trade where the stochastics are pointed inside that channel, downward channel. At this point was selling off. Right at this point, when we got real choppy and we came back and we got that crossover, that was really a good indication to go long for that week, and actually into the next week too. As we sold off pretty hard on Friday, but we pretty much moved right up against the upward trend line here, and we took a lot of profits into this bullish move. There's no doubt about it. Just trying to go back on some of the stocks that we were looking at and trading at that time. Everything from the Teva. So I'm just looking back on my own notes here that we traded Teva, TEVA, and again that moved. A lot of these things all were moving with the stochastics. They all made those nice moves. This made that W pattern we're looking at. These are all off the recent 10 for 1,000 watch list. That's why you have those things in here. Again, the Brazilian Foods, BRFS, that pretty much really outperformed and actually broke up towards $21, which was a short-term target, the 52-week highs. So it actually, and a lot of people, we took profits into that. I did get back into this on a pullback because I want to hold this as a longer-term trade. If we continue to push back up towards the highs, this is just going to be a golden opportunity. So this is one of the stocks we continue to watch. But and also another stock that gave us a great indication, and we just ran this one right up here, and I think that was one of the best trades of the week. Another great trade of the week. The DGX was really good. Again, you got a nice bullish crossover, and you got a nice gap up, and we followed through, and we took profits into that. We sold a lot of these stocks as they got overbought on the stochastics, because we know that momentum is running out, and anything can happen. Really, anything can happen. The same thing with the MT, which was a nice crossover here, and kind of a double bottom. And actually, some of these stocks are going to be on the watch list going forward, because I did get back into MT on the pullback here. So, but very lightly, because now we're going to go into next week, and I'm very excited to do this video, because there's a lot of things I want to drop on you right now. And we had a great interview last Friday. We had Money Changer from the room. We had Trader Joe come in. We had a great dialogue of maybe what the future world economy is looking like, and what's the history. And again, I was the first person to say during the interview process that I'm probably like the most of the average investors when it comes to the underlying construction of the financial industries, in a way where there's people out there that there's so much to do with the underlying what goes on, the monetary policy. And as traders, I'm a trader that's a chart pattern reader, a technical trader that likes to trade momentum into into patterns that I find. I'm also a person that likes to buy on lower trend lines, oversold stochastics. So I have a method that I trade. And once you establish those methods and things start working, it's a very good method. But when things become unclear or cloudy, and that's usually because there's outside news, technicals will fail just like anything else does. When fear comes into the market, there's no rationale, there's no trend to be had other than the current trend. And I think we're in that area right now, because I've learned so much over the past few days since I had the interview. I did my own research, and that's something I stress everyone to do, is to find out about what's going on in the world today, because we don't know exactly what this means going forward. I'm a type of trader that says, all right, there's all this bad news out there, and we've been faced with bad news for years. Ever since we remember, there's always something out there, and the market always takes that opportunity and continues to move up, and then there's a next set of events that this is going to be the big collapse, and again we figure out how to get past that. So it's a scenario where we're preparing for the worst, but the worst maybe never comes, and that's a hard thing to handle, especially when you read into it deeper. When my eyes are opened up a little bit more, I'm reading into it and I'm saying, well, you know what? Maybe I better, take a closer look at what's going on. Maybe I shouldn't be that naive and say, well, everything's just going to take care of itself like it normally does. Because I think that's what everyone's just counting on. Everyone's just counting on letting things take care of themselves. And it would be great if things happen, because I don't have time to worry about things. I don't have time to worry about this. But I'm gonna have to force myself to do that and recognize, hey, the writing's on the wall. There's some things out here in our world that are not legit, and things could be a house of cards just waiting to collapse, and it's happened before in history. So it's very weird for me to give you this video this week, because I'm like, you feel that all the pressures around, the market seems to be holding up. Gold has continued to rise up. I was doing research on gold, learning about the history of gold and why it was taken, or why we don't have the gold standard anymore, and how much gold do we have, and why, who else is buying our gold. You know that the Chinese are really buying up gold to put pressure on the dollar. And I'm learning so much about this, the whole process, and the big thing here now is the euro, and the euro's out there, and that's again something that's, for me, not as important as, wow, there looks like a great opportunity in Teva on a falling wedge pattern. It's not something I pay attention. I'm not a currency trader, but it needs to be paid attention to, because this reacts with the overall. This will affect the overall markets and you don't want it to sneak up and just bite you. So it's very important to gain that knowledge. We're lucky to have great people, and I gotta again thank Money Changer for doing that beautiful interview, and I'd like to get him more involved in the station. And Joe, of course, always, coming in with his views, and it's good. It's a great forum for this. So that leaves us going into next week. And I was talking about the Obama jobs and economy speech, and this all happened again before Friday. We knew about this going out, and we have this German vote coming up, and they're. This is stuff that I am always, learning about and following. But the German Constitutional Court has set the rule on the legality of the seamless, endless bailout pledges made by Merkel. So they're going to be voting on this. And at their rule against the bailouts, they were saying that could be a worst case, straw that breaks the camel's back scenario for the euro. And that's just in front of us. I mean, that's this week. And then you have this month's Fed meeting, FOMC meeting, where everyone's expecting QE3, and how bad, the opponents of that QE3 and the people who want this to come about, they're pulling on both sides. So there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of, you can see it in the recent chart here. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm just thinking here today. I was like, what you know, it's very hard to pick stocks when you know that the market could go either direction based on news. It's one of the hardest things to do. So, but I tend to do it, and I continue to, enjoy doing it, because I always do believe that the markets are always giving you an opportunity somewhere, both to the downside and to the upside. Well, going back now, and not to make this too long-winded video, this thing could be an hour long before the time I'm done with it. This is where we leave off. We leave off with all this news approaching this week. We have the potential of a euro collapse. We have a potential of a run on banks in Europe. I mean, to think of what could that mean across the board. The world economies would be affected. I mean, we had our financial crisis in 2008, and not to say that and again, now banks are being investigated again, and there's still no clarity on this. So it's not like the wound has kind of scabbed over, but it's still infected underneath the scab, and now it's being picked at again, and it's the biggest question mark out there for me, is where do we end up from this point? Is this something that can be patched up, continually patched up, and just kind of pushed back out there and say, all right, go finish the game? Or eventually does it collapse? The player collapses on the field and there's no more game to be played. I even did some research on, read some of Ron Paul's speeches and stuff, how he's, and he hints in a kind of cryptic manner of, the possibilities of civil unrest and the change of the government in a way where, the people take control of it. And it's kind of frightening. So that doesn't happen. That's America. This is America. That doesn't happen. But then again, a couple months ago, you see them rioting in London. You see what's happening in Greece. You see what happens all around the world. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen here. So I don't know. One thing I've learned over the last week is sometimes not to always just trust in the system. It's not just trust in it just happening. We need to be proactive in our defensive policies and our own individual safety and well-being. What happens? There is a major market collapse, and their banks start to collapse, and they freeze your money. Do you have a backup plan of where to get your money from? It's kind of a far-fetched plan, but I mean, I was thinking about that today. I'm gonna have to, I would like to have cash on hand, something valuable that, if anything, worst case scenario, that I could sleep at night. That you get by a troubled area. So it's like, is it better to continue to trade the markets in a volatile thing, trying to capture? It's just as well you might as well just go to Vegas or Atlantic City, or do you watch this market, you learn as much as you can about it. You prepare yourself with all the knowledge possible to profit off of it. And when those areas come, in which they will, then you're sitting there. But I think the preservation of capital right now, and the gain, and to make that capital, not put yourself out there to lose it when you don't want to lose it. If the market does get a flush, you don't want to be holding all your cards right now. You don't want to be going for broke. And it's the opposite way too. I mean, people could be betting against the country, and all of a sudden there is something out there that rallies this market. And that's not out of the question. You just don't, at this point, it's just a very, very interesting time to be in the markets. And, and again, I would say go ask your friends who are not involved with the markets. Most likely they won't see it the way we see it, because they're not affected daily in the gain loss column with the big casino in the world. So they're just, as long as they're getting their paycheck and they're doing what they're doing, they're fine. They're going to the bar at night, they're drinking. It's no big deal. But you never know what's going to happen and how that's going to change. So I'm just saying, in this little video, just learn as much as you can about the situation. Learn why you're in the markets. What runs the markets. Protect yourself. Have cash available. Maybe invest in some gold. Take little steps like that to kind of ensure a bigger investment in your life and your family and stuff like that, just so you have a little more invested in that area, because the markets will always be here. There's no doubt about that, and most likely they're always going to give you an opportunity, but you have to be ready to seize that opportunity. And trying to guess what's going to happen going into next week versus what's going to happen next week, I'd rather let the channels, let me get a pullback, and we'll watch relative strength, and we'll take it day by day, and we'll cut it down to 60-minute charts and 5-minute charts, and take less and less of the overnight trades, I'd say, going forward here. There's a couple stocks I want to probably take off early this week just to limit myself, and some of the European-based stocks, the Deutsche Bank and the MT. I started scaling in MT on this latest pullback, but I'm saying, you know what? It's probably plenty of time. It's going to be, and there's so much fog, an all clear sound will probably be very, very easy to hear. And what I mean by that is, there'll be a sign that things, you need to be in this market, and you need to be out of the market. Right now, it just again, the signs are not there yet. There is a nice little trend line underneath. We have a recognizable pattern, which I love, but the stochastic's starting to turn over. Everything played out according to plan. How fast we got overbought versus up against the 50-period moving average. The multiple indicators, the 5-indicator system, the stochastic's being overbought. Upward trend line, recognizable pattern, moving average. That's a 4 out of 5 indicator sell signal right there, and it started pulling back, and you got some good selling here. So I leave off with that, and just a little talk. I wish I could have, given you more, but I wanted to get this out. I don't know. You might not find it interesting. You might not find it valuable, but we have a lot to learn from the markets today. There's a couple stocks we're going to go over on the 10 for 1,000 watch. I'm going to put that video out next. Just to give you an update, we're going to look at Jazz, Verifone, which we bought last week, or added to it, and that still looks very, very, very good. Again, this is a stock that we picked up off of the lower trend line. It's popped back up. This actually looks very good. Added to it, continues to look good. But again, the stochastics here is another indicator, because up here in this grayish blue area is the oversold, and you see how we flattened out up here. It's a very bullish signal. We kind of pointed that out on Friday, and we actually had a nice close on Friday too, comparable to the market, which was a bloodbath. This actually held up pretty good in Verifone. The Fastenal still looks okay, and there's a couple new ones we got into last week which worked out very well. On the pullback here, the SOA, which I'm going to do, I'll do another update on the 10 for 1,000 watch list, but I have a lot of lines on here because I want to represent a couple different things. Look at how this was a channel line. Again, 1, 2, 3 pivots, 4, 5, tested, and we broke down. Then we came right back up to the trend line, broke back down, back up to the trend line. So now we have a couple pivot areas. We have a pivot here, pivot here, pivot here, pivot here. We have a channel, possibly a wedge. In either case, this downward motion here, even a possible inverted head and shoulders. But in the worst case scenario, if we get a move back down to here, because the stochastics are flattening out here, not exactly oversold, but this, again, with the market conditions the way they are, if there is a big hit in the market, a lot of these stocks can come down and hit certain levels. So that's what I'm going to be concentrating on, the 10 for 1,000 watch list, those stocks that we're going to be on watching, and some new shorts that we're setting up for this week. So hopefully you tune into that, and that could be found at DayTraderRockStar.com. That's DayTraderRockStar.com. I'm your host. I broadcast there each and every day, and I think it should be a fun day to watch the markets this week. Actually, this week we have a holiday tomorrow, and then we got a shortened week, but we got an exciting week. So be sure to tune in each and every day from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and that's it.